everyone, it's Deb, and it's week 3 of November, and our theme is awareness, and particularly awareness of patterns and habits. So, we're exploring this deeper layer of awareness, the patterns that move through our minds, our emotions, our behaviors. And these patterns are not mistakes, they are learned survival strategies. Yeah. And they form from repetition, conditioning, and lived experience. So this week is not about judgment, it's about understanding. So I have a Zen proverb for you, and it goes, "We do not see things as they are, we see them as we have learned to see." Pretty interesting, huh? So, why patterns matter? Why do we talk about this and work with this? Well, the patterns shape how we speak, how we react, how we soothe ourselves, and how we move through difficulty. So, many of these have been formed long before we had the capacity to choose. So, childhood conditioning, right? Cultural messages, trauma, stress, or simply repetition. And certainly I know probably all of those myself. So mindfulness doesn't force patterns to change, right? It illuminates them. And it illuminates them. So when we have our awareness, right, touches a pattern, the grip starts to loosen. And that's where our freedom begins. And I know that's where my freedom began, right? When I started doing meditation and mindfulness all those many years ago. But still, there's some patterns that still come up. And let's talk about what those types of patterns are, because I work through these myself. And so there's two kinds of patterns that we meet in mindfulness. Now, the first one is habit loops. So these are your automatic behaviors, like reaching for your phone when you're anxious, tightening the jaw during stress. I do that one. Replaying old conversations, and I know I do that one as well too. Rushing through tasks. Yes, I do that one. And bracing the body, right, without even noticing. Uh, Somebody's going to say, "Oh, I want to talk to you." And this is one that happens to me. My husband will say, "Well, I want to talk to you." And I do physically feel myself bracing, even though it may be something like really happy and exciting. But the thing is because of this conditioning that we've had, these habits, these automatic behaviors that we learn, they happen fast and quietly. So the other one is emotional patterns. Now, how do these show up? They show up by shutting down, overthinking, fixing, people pleasing, withdrawing, judging ourselves harshly. Can you tick off some of those on your list? I know I can. The thing is, we have to remember with all of this is patterns are not personal flaws. They are strategies. Strategies that our system learned for what? For protection. That's what it's all about. So we want to bring awareness in softly. And so this month's theme is awareness, not change. And that's something we need to be aware of, is that it's about awareness. So rather than breaking the patterns, what we do is we practice the following. We practice noticing that it's a pattern, naming it, pausing, choosing, and softening. So these are the ways that we work with these. And when we watch a pattern clearly and gently, particularly like when we're practicing Vipassana meditation, we step out of it and then into a space, a possibility. So patterns then lose that power. the moment that we stop running on autopilot. And so, yes, we'll be working with those in our daily meditations this week. So here's a simple practice that you could do for this week, and it's a 3-step awareness check-in when a pattern arises. So the first one is pause. So what you do is feel your feet. Preferably sit like in a chair, or you could be standing, but really feel your feet on the floor. And then your breath. Feel your breath. Pausing with the breath, pausing with the feet, then pausing with the breath, and then pausing your body. And then what you do next is just name it gently. So this is speeding up, or this is shutting down, or this is worry, or this is old conditioning. And use the softest naming possible. Okay? And then the third step of this practice is choose 1 degree of difference. Not a huge change, mind you, just a shift. So it could be something like 1 slower breath, 1 softening of the shoulders, 1 kind phrase you can share with yourself, 1 moment of grounding. Okay? So awareness doesn't demand perfection, it asks for presence. So why does kindness matter in all of this? When we become aware of patterns, it can stir up shame. So we weave in compassion intentionally. Patterns come from pain, fear, or unmet needs. And awareness reconnects us with wisdom and choice. And so the healing begins when we say, oh, this is what I do, and I understand why. And I've said that to myself many times when I've noticed things. Like I said, the bracing that I talked about a little while ago, I do that. And I know it comes from my past, right? My past trauma. So as you walk through week 3, let's be curious. What patterns arise when you're tired? I can get like cranky and irritable. I know that one for me. So that's a pattern. And then I can be critical of other people. Unfortunately, my husband at times. What patterns arise when you're stressed? Okay. And what patterns arise when you're longing for comfort? So every pattern reveals something about what you need. What is it that you need? So let's have a gentle week this week, and may awareness open the door to understanding, compassion, and freedom. So thank you, friends, for being with me today. I wish you peace.